win for Syracuse in the opener over Lafayette. Domination from start to finish. Joe Girard looked really in control, really solid. We'll get to our thoughts on the defense. Jimmy Boeheim, Jesse Edwards, really our entire takeaways from this season opening win for Syracuse. That's all coming up on the Locked On Syracuse podcast.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Tim Leonard, Tyler Aki. Happy you could join us. Happy you can make Locked On Syracuse your first listen. We're here with you guys every single weekday. Great time to subscribe to the podcast. It is free and available wherever you get your pods, including YouTube. And this episode of Locked On Syracuse is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's an unofficial community center. A big thank you to our friends at McDonald's for always being there. I'm loving it. And I'm loving the way Syracuse played in the season opening win over Lafayette. I mean, do we just buy the Final Four tickets now, Ty? Do we just get the tickets to New Orleans?
Where is it? San Antonio this year?
New Orleans, right?
New Orleans. You're right. Yeah. You know, it got dropped in my group chat today, Tim, with all the old college buddies. Hey, what do we think of going to the Garden for Syracuse and Nova? I think I'm going to be there.
Nice.
This is what happens.
Awesome.
You get a team that goes out there, puts up a 97 on the scoreboard. You reinvigorate the fan base, and that's where they're at right now. I think I'm punching my ticket right now.
And look, I'm being facetious with the Final Four talk. It's fun though, and
I'm not with the Nova talk though. I'm not.
Yes, you're being serious about that, which is awesome, and I'm sure you'll have some good content for us when you go out there. But it was exciting to see this team play together the way that they did in the exhibition. It translated against a little tougher competition. Yeah. 26 more assists in this game, 37 made field goals. That's right around 70% of your field goals made. You're dishing out passes. This is a very unselfish team, and we're going to get to some of our Twitter thoughts today. I guess we should start with how Joe Girard played, but also a big takeaway for me is what a lot of our Twitter thoughts was, which is this team is just playing together really nicely. They're playing with a lot of chemistry and a lot of poise out there, and it is inferior competition, but it's good to see at this stage of the season.
Right. And again, you can say inferior competition all you want. 97 points is 97 points. And to me, that's what I cared about. What did I say going into this game? I want to see the offense show up. And what did they do? They nearly slapped a century mark on the scoreboard there. That to me, and it was just very efficient too, across the board. I mean, Cole had his struggles. Buddy had a couple hiccups here and there. But if those are the guys that are going to struggle in a game like this, fine by me. Fine by me. Because we know what those guys are. They're studs for this team. And to see Joe Girard get on track. Jimmy Boeheim comes out and scores the first 8 points. It was just refreshing to see. It was just an all-around performance. I'm looking top to bottom here. Of the guys that really played in this game, the only guy that I think played poorly is John Bull. I mean, the three-pointer.
Yeah, we have to talk about that
sound.
Three.
Cue the sound. Terrible, John. But that was really like the only guy. I know Samir Torrance kind of struggled shooting the ball 0 for 5 from the field, but I thought he did a couple of other things that were really good in this game in terms of facilitating. He had 4 assists, did not turn the ball over in 18 minutes either. And I thought he played really well defensively too.
Yeah, his defense does look good. His offense is a little bit of a problem. And Jim Boeheim said post-game, he was like, that's as bad as Samir can play, basically. He got to the rim, he just didn't finish. He missed an open jumper. He was 0 for 5 in 18 minutes in this game. So we talked about his offense. It's still kind of a work in progress. But Joe is the headliner, I think. I mean, he goes 5 for 5 from 3, 6 for 9, 20 points in 25 minutes, makes all his free throws. And then on top of that, 7 assists to 1 turnover. Yeah. I know we were joking on Twitter about the Sienna thing again, and we keep bringing it up on the podcast, but it was a fun topic last year.
I died laughing at this DM. Someone DM'd us. John Bull would fit in better with Sienna instead of Girard.
Oh, man. The 3 was too funny. As soon as he shot that, and I love how the crowd leaned into it.
Have you ever shot that shot? That's what Jim Boeheim pretty much said after the game. He's never taken that shot in practice.
Exactly. He's also missing some layups in practice from what we've gathered as well. But I
The
love
tape
Bull. I
exists.
love the chemistry this team is playing
Yeah.
with. And that's
Listen,
something
this team
that,
needs a John Bull too. Like
yeah,
they need
it's
that
awesome.
personality on the bench. The guy who's not in a warm up on the bench in the 5th minute of the game on the bench, just rallying the troops, getting everything going. They need a John Bull. They just don't necessarily need him on the court.
Right. So, and I brought this up on the podcast before, but Joe Girard was on Devo's podcast, The Scorers Table, and Devo straight up asked him, "What's the difference between this year's team and last year's team?" And he said, "Everyone's together, everyone's buying in, the chemistry, we all get along better, and we're all hard workers." And I don't know if he's targeting any specific players. I don't think he means anything negative about last year's team,
There
but
might be
we
a
got
Kadari shot in there.
yeah,
Might
maybe.
be a Kadari shot
Which,
in there.
I mean, look, he was trying to fight off Kadari from taking his spot. So I don't know. I don't want to make it seem like it's a negative comment about it, the team last year from Girard. More to me, it was a takeaway of, wow, like that's good to hear that this team at this stage of the season really does get along great. And the way they started, it was so cool to see Jimmy and Buddy score the first 11 points. I don't know if there's a single person as happy as Julie Boeheim on planet Earth at like 7:10 last night, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when it's 11-4 and it's 8 minutes in, because obviously, like Jimmy, it's well documented, but there's a lot of pressure on him this year. Inserted in, playing with his younger brother, who's considered to be an All-American. I thought that was pretty dang impressive. It is against Lafayette, who he did tear up when he was at Cornell as well, but like to come out and score the first 8 points, that says something. It is similar to how he scored or made his first 3 when he made his dome debut against Syracuse. That showed
right
me
in front of his
something as well.
dad. I wonder, is Julie wearing the shirt every single game now? Is there a specific
I don't know.
like Boeheim trio? I didn't see any sort of shirts on the TV broadcast because it was impossible to watch the TV broadcast.
Yes, I was
by
going
the
to say,
way,
did you see the TV broadcast? Because
I found some
that's a whole
back
nother
channel
topic.
Twitch channel, which a couple listeners were tweeting at us and DMing us, so I shared the link with them. But I mean, the ACC and the RSNs need to figure this out because I couldn't watch the game for the longest portion of it, and then luckily I found this little back channel Twitch channel. I almost don't want to say that because I don't want it to get shut down because what is happening is definitely not allowed. But so I'm not going to out the person. But and then they showed it in Chicago, the Marquee Network, which is basically the Chicago equivalent of the Yes Network. They showed it on tape delay at like 10 o'clock. So I caught whatever I couldn't see. I radioed it for the first half pretty much. But no, it was an all-around performance. And getting to your point of Jimmy Boeheim, he just fits so well into his role. It's impeccable. I mean, he goes out there, he scores, which I think this team can get away without him scoring. But if he's going to slap 18 on the board, take it and run to the bank with it, rebounded, got 5 rebounds too. I just think he does a lot of things really well. You saw him at the 5 a little bit too, and I thought he kind of held his own as well. So a lot of good things to like out of Jimmy Boeheim and really the entire team.
Yeah, and we'll get into the centers in a little bit here in Jesse Edwards, because that was probably the one, I think he tweeted that was the one nitpick maybe, is his foul trouble and the way that he did pick up 4 fouls in maybe his first 16 minutes or so from the game. But also, one note on Girard, his offensive rating on Kenpo, that's a stat we love to bring up here. It's the average is 100. He checks in at a 181.1.
Oh,
that has to be.
I was going to guess it before you said it. I was going to say like a 175.
Yeah, I mean, that's as high as I've seen a Syracuse player that is a non-like center that, sometimes you'll see like Chukwu or someone maybe after they go 4 for 4, but he just was really efficient tonight. That's the 11th best individual game in the country because that's already just one night of college basketball, and he's ranked 11th in that category. Yeah,
ton of games that went on. There were 50 games that tipped off at 7 and another 54 that tipped off at 8 and a bunch scattered throughout the rest of the night as well. So it's not like there's a small sample size of players out there. It's still a very impressive feat. And the 97 points, Girard's a big reason why. He was scoring the basketball. I think this is kind of the hidden part of this. He only played 25 minutes and he put those numbers up. It's because he wasn't missing and he was efficient with the basketball. Also, by the way, did you see this stat? 97 points, the most they've scored in a season opener since 2007. Did you see who that game was against?
No, who was it?
Siena.
Oh, that's too good. Wow. Yeah, we got
I heard
shout
that
out to
Hat
Shout
tip
out
to
to Zach.
Stephen Conti on that one. I heard him say that on the post-game show, and
That's
I was
funny.
like, oh, that's
Sienna.
great. I'm going to use that.
McKiddish, if I hope I'm saying that right, we basically said, what were your thoughts on the game? And his response was that Syracuse is winning the national championship, ... The real answer is the play of Girard. If he plays like this, he might be the greatest player ever at Siena. I don't know why we've settled on Siena, but I think at this point we just have to keep rolling with it.
It was because that was the initial tweets at us. They were all saying, this guy wouldn't play at Siena. I think we got our answer tonight.
Siena, by the way, got crushed by St. Bonaventure today. St. Bonaventure is good. They're number 23.
They actually held in with the Bonnies for a little bit.
Yeah, it was close at half, I saw. And then they really got blasted in the second. I kind of wish we were playing St. Bonaventure this year. I
wish we were playing Siena this year.
Yeah, well, that'd be funny too. I really think, though, final point on Girard before we get a quick break in, I do think he's going to have a lot of assists this year, though. I think I said on our preview podcast that he would lead the team comfortably with like 5 or 6. Honestly, maybe I should have said as a bold prediction, he might lead the ACC in assists because the way Syracuse is passing, the way Syracuse has shooters, they're getting up and down, scoring a lot. I just see everyone. I mean, Buddy had 6 assists.
I was going to bring up.
Yeah, it's his evolution as a playmaker. That's great to see.
The threat of them both being able to shoot has given them so much space. I mean, look at how much space there was on the floor tonight. Well, it was unbelievable. These defenses are so stretched out. It's like they're playing against an NBA team with how many shooters are out there on the floor. That creates space for Girard to either A, get his own shot, or B, set up a super easy shot for someone like Jesse, Benny, Jimmy, Buddy. Like all these guys had wide open looks all night long. It's because there's so much floor spacing.
Right. So you just brought up Jesse and Benny. We'll dive into them in just a second. More takeaways from this game, more thoughts on the defense. But I do want to remind you guys about PrizePicks. If you're a college football or college basketball fan, PrizePicks is for you. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. I love this. I know you guys will as well. I dipped into it a little bit in the first night of college hoops, and they have tons of different college prop picks out there, whether it's a mid-major player, whether it's Syracuse, whether it was someone in the Champions Classic last night. PrizePicks. Siena is out there, I'm sure, as well. PrizePicks offers any prop you can think of, from yardage to touchdowns, even interceptions thrown, and they're dipping into basketball as well now. You can do some fun cross-sport stuff as well. Maybe take an over this weekend on Schrader and double that with a Girard over potentially if you're feeling him to have another strong game against Drexel. Stuff like that is all on PrizePicks, and it's really the only place that you can do these fun college prop bets, which is really cool. And we've got a promo code for you as well on top of all that. All new users, when you use our promo code Locked On, will get a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Again, the promo code is Locked On. You can download their award-winning app on the App Store and Google Play. PrizePicks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Use that promo code Locked On. Go to the App Store, download the app today. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy.
This episode of Locked on Syracuse is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's a place where friends and family can come to connect. It's a place where classmates can meet up for a study group knowing they'll have dependable Wi-Fi and endless supplies of French fries and McFlurries. Win or lose, it's a place where teammates, competitors, the home team, or the road team can come to recharge. It's the place you always look forward to stopping at on a long road trip to rest your legs and refuel. Whether it was before school, before a big Little League game. I remember always getting the McGriddle on the way to the Little League game and some of those early, like 10 o'clock starts. It's the perfect place to get yourself ready for a great day. So head on over to your local McDonald's to refuel and reconnect. I'm loving it.
All right, so getting into the defense now, I think a little bit, which, I mean, look, it's Lafayette. It's kind of like the exhibition games. You can't judge a ton, but that was a team that had a lot of capable shooters out there. They did have a 7-footer, which Syracuse held in check for the most part. Now, he's more of a passer than a scorer, but I thought we got a good reply here from Tony, who said, depth both in shooting range and number of guys who can compete in the ACC. Unfortunately, I don't see much improvement in the middle. Inability to defend without fouling, and zero threat in the high ball screen action, which I'm guessing he's talking a little bit about Jesse Edwards, we touched on earlier, but he did pick up 4 fouls in this game, and he's a guy that I labeled as probably an X factor. You could say Joe Girard as well this year, but when we're talking about defense specifically, I really think that's the area where Syracuse needs to improve, is that anchor position, and maybe not a a great start from Jesse in that regard, although he did show some good stuff. I guess it just wasn't the foul trouble scares me.
Right, and that's the thing is it's a recurring issue, and it shouldn't be something that happens against a team like Lafayette, right? Or a team like the preseason teams you played. This is something that did you watch Duke and Trevor Keels tonight? Paolo
Yeah,
Banchero, those guys are going to be coming at Jesse, trying to get him in foul
right.
trouble. And I do think Frank Anselm probably played a little bit better than he showed in the exhibitions too. Now, Jim Boeheim did call him out post game, saying he wasn't getting back on defense. Him and Benny, and if you go back and watch the game, I think that was pretty apparent. Some of the transition looks, but I thought the defense, as a shell and as a unit, for the most part, did a pretty good job, especially in the early going. Because what's been the problem when we see Syracuse struggle defensively? It's those slow starts where a team comes out and hits like 5 of their first 7 threes, and that didn't happen
Right.
in this game. And I think that overall is a positive. The defense started to crumble a little bit once the result was sort of known. And I like the defensive intensity out of the gate. But the Jesse
Right.
fouls, that certainly is an issue and something that's got to change.
No doubt. I think that's still my hesitation with the defense is how good is that center position going to be this year? Will Barama ever be healthy? And honestly, we've talked about this before, but even if Barama comes back, it's not like he was a stalwart defensively. Like it's not like he was
Mhm.
Chukwu, who got ragged on a little bit while he was here, but actually our team defensive numbers were pretty solid when Pascal Chukwu was back there, and he was a legit rim protector back there. He grabbed a good amount of rebounds as well. Cole Swider had 12 rebounds in this game. I think it's the first double-double he's had in his college career. So shout out to him. He kind of struggled with his shot, but
See, come on the pod, double doubles.
yes, right. I think it's actually good that we saw Cole, play well and struggle with his shot a little bit tonight. But
Mhm.
overall, I guess you can't judge a ton rebounding wise or defensively for me. We could have gotten on this podcast today and said, like defense didn't look that good. There was a scenario that happened, but you're not going to get on here, at least for me, and say, you know what? I know this defense is going to be solid this year after what I saw against Lafayette.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think looking at Jesse in particular and his overall performance, I think there's I can give you 2 bullets of good stuff and 2 bullets of bad stuff. The 2 bullets
Mm-hmm.
of bad, obviously the foul trouble. He only pulled down 2 rebounds in this game. I know he played 18 minutes,
Yeah.
but 2 rebounds. However, you want some of the good, he blocked 3 shots in 18 minutes. I mean,
Right.
that's impeccable stuff there. And he also cracked double figures. 4 for 4 from the field, 3 for 4 from the stripe. That's good stuff. I get that some of it came in garbage time when for
Sure.
some reason he was out there at the end when the final horn sounded in a 34-point game. I didn't really understand why he was out there at the end with the walk-ons. I mean, that seems like a role that you would throw either Anselm or John Bull out there for. I didn't get it why Jesse was out there. He actually got checked back into the game so he could go back out there with those guys. But I mean, it's a growing process with him. He's going to take his lumps over the course of his career, and I just want to see consistency. I need to see the foul trouble stuff that plagues Syracuse big after Syracuse big start to go away.
Right. Any thoughts on Benny in this game? I felt like he sort of flew under the radar a little bit. I mean, he showed some athletic plays.
Mhm.
Boeheim did bring up, like you said, they didn't get back on D some. I think overall, though, our take on him all along is kind of holding true that they don't need him to be a big scorer right now. He's probably
Right.
not going to wow us in the stat sheet. And also, it looks like Jimmy Boeheim is kind of just more ready right now. So I'm kind of cool with him starting.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Benny and say to myself, what I saw from him, if that's his role this season, I love it. It's kind of that he's steady guy, but he's going to get you some splash plays. Like that block that he had that's
Yeah, that was
erupted the
cool.
dome. That was awesome. He had a jumper. He had a really nice dunk too that got the crowd going. So he finishes with 6 points, 3 of 5 shooting, 3 boards. Only turned the ball over once. I'm cool with that. And he played 21 minutes. So again, this is going to be a growing process with him. And Boeheim was asked about it after the game too, about what'd you see, what'd you like from Benny. And it was kind of the same old Boeheim stuff. Like he's learning, he's growing. And this is
Right.
game number 1. We're going to
He
see a
works
game.
hard. Yeah, that all.
We're going to see a game at some point this season where he goes off for 20 points and it might feel like he turns the corner in that game. I still think he's confident out there. I think that's the best part. He looked like he belonged. Let's put it that way. And that's for a freshman, that's one of the best things you can say about them.
And he's only going to get better. He's only going to get
Yeah.
more confident at finishing at the rim and staying aggressive. And he'll have some of those pop games for sure this year. All right, more takeaways coming up from this one. We're going to get into some of your Twitter thoughts as well. But I want to remind you guys about Built Bar, which is the best tasting protein bar on the market right now. If you haven't tried a Built Bar by now, you're missing out. I don't really know what you're doing at this point. They say it's a protein bar, but it does not taste like one. You have to try one of these amazing bars yourself to believe it. Most of these protein bars out there, they're chalky, they're waxy, they're tough to chew, they're tough to choke down. A Built Bar is soft, covered in 100% real chocolate, and when you bite into it, you know you're eating something different. It's more of an experience, one that you'll enjoy. In fact, you'll swear that you're eating a candy bar. That's how I feel every time I eat one of these things. I don't understand how they taste this good, and they are somehow good for you as well. They're low carb, low calorie, low fat, low sugar, yet high in protein and taste delicious. Got tons of great flavors to choose from. And this month, Built is coming out with new limited time flavors every 3 to 4 days. So check their website often. You don't want to miss out on that. Go to built.com, use our promo code LOCKED15, get you 15% off your order. Again, the promo code is LOCKED, the number 15 for 15% off at built.com.
We're back and better than ever. A new web interface for the start of the basketball season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head on over to their new website with an updated desktop and mobile view to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. All you got to do is use our promo code LOCKEDON to get that 50% welcome bonus on that deposit. From basketball to football, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, do not wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. We told you, stay away from the spread, but we like the over in this game.
Yeah.
The over hit. So we'll always give you that stuff with the prop shop and all that. BetOnline, where the game starts.
All right, so wrapping up here, some final takeaways, and then we will get into some Twitter thoughts as well. A couple good ones. I'll shout out a couple right now. Ryan James just tweeted at us right before we started recording this, actually, and said, Cuse beat a high 200s Kenpo at home, 97-63. Zags in Gonzaga beat a high 200/300 Kenpo at home, 97-63. Clearly, SU is as good as Gonzaga, right?
Spider-Man
I love
name
it
right there, right? Chet Holmgren and Jimmy Boeheim.
Yeah, another funny one here from Jeremy Long. He says, we don't have Jeff Capel as a head coach. It's tough times in Pitt right now.
It was tough sledding in the ACC. I mean,
yeah,
Syracuse.
No, that's a good point.
I mean, Duke played Kentucky, all right? They played really the only formidable opponent on the other side, and Duke went out there, took care of business at the Garden. They had the best win in the conference. Syracuse is probably second. It's either them or Virginia Tech. I mean, what did we want to see? Leave no doubt for 40 minutes. Syracuse did that in this game. They took care of business from the opening tip to the final horn. There was never any sort of doubt in this one. And that's the good thing.
There was a lot of doubt in some of these ACC. I mean, Virginia lost to Navy.
Virginia lost, yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. Georgia Tech loses to Miami of Ohio. These are at home, of course. Clemson's down at the half to Presbyterian. They did end up looking
Louisville
like
didn't look motivated.
Away.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I watched that game.
NC State pulls away late against Bucknell, but that was a close game at the half. That was a close game into the second half. Yeah. I'm sure I'm forgetting some others, but I mean, Virginia Tech.
And then Pitt lost. I mean, Pitt got crushed.
Right.
Absolutely crushed.
To the Citadel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
there's so much uninspiring out of the ACC. And for Syracuse to go out and do what they did, I know it's Lafayette, but a lot of these other teams played Lafayette caliber opponents too. And they didn't take care of business and didn't look motivated. That was not the case with Syracuse. You have to credit the coaching staff. You have to credit the players for what they went out and did.
And I think Syracuse has as much talent as some of these ACC teams right now. Virginia, I watched a good chunk of that game today. Actually made a little bit of money on the Navy money line, which was a great way to start out my college basketball. Yes, it was a nice way to start out on betonline.ag. But Jaden Gardner looked fine, but they just look a little out of sorts. Kind of typical Virginia early in the season, but their roster is not that talented.
Yeah.
Louisville looked fine, I guess, against Southern. I didn't watch much of that game, but
Mike Rutherford was none too happy on Twitter. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Yeah. I
And that's he's the
think this
pulse of the
ACC
cards
is
there.
not that
Yeah.
good. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of what we've seen now for the past 3 or 4 years, where ever since that 2016 year, the conference has sort of been trending down. I mean, even when Syracuse wasn't in the NCAA tournament picture in the COVID year a couple years ago, I read it off the other day. They finished tied for 6th in the league. So this is now 3 years in a row that we've kind of looked at the ACC and been like, it's a down year for them. And I'm starting to wonder, like, is this just the new normal? Well, the SEC and some of these other conferences are getting better.
Listen, the door's open, all right, in this conference.
Yeah.
I know it's just game one. You don't want to overreact, but I think you saw some stuff that will bear its head for the long term in the conference. And whether it's the Virginia stuff, the Louisville stuff, and then just the overall bottom of the conference stuff, I think that stuff's going to apply, a lot of it season long. And I got a text from our buddy Kevin Kloss, listens to the program pretty much every single day, especially during hoops season. He texted me and said, I think Syracuse is going to finish 3rd in the ACC. And I said, all right, let's slow your roll a little bit, but I do think it is kind of open there at the top. And if they can play defense and if they continue to shoot the lights out, they're certainly going to give themselves a chance.
Yeah, I would say pump the brakes a little bit, Kevin,
Yeah.
but I think he's onto something, because the ACC is definitely there for the taking this year. There's definitely something to that. It's also, we've seen this before, right? Like, what really matters is what they do once they go to Atlantis. Once they play VCU, that's the first test. And if we're being honest with ourselves, since Syracuse has joined the ACC the last 6 years, that first test, we've always gone in feeling like this could be different. Whether it's at MSG, whether it's that Barclays game against South Carolina.
Big 10 ACC.
They just haven't really delivered on a lot of those games. So now they've got like 5 or 6 of those type of games in the non-conference this year, and they look probably better than they have. But there's been a lot of, game ones where we could record podcasts after in the last 5 or 6 years, and we'd sound like, oh yeah, this looks like a top 4, top 5 ACC team, and it hasn't panned out just yet. So I'm just eager to see how they look once they get into the meat of their schedule.
What's your biggest game one overreaction?
Overreaction. I guess the Jesse stuff, like the foul trouble.
So you're going negative wise. Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess I could go positive as well. I
mean, you've been the one that like pissed in the
reversed
coffee.
roles. Someone shouted us. Shout out to Kyle, I think. Yeah, he tweeted at us.
And then our buddy Drew Carter also texted us and said, look at negative Nancy Tim over here.
Right. Yeah. Look, I'm positive on football. I think football might win 8 games. So I'm not totally negative Nancy, but I do feel like Syracuse basketball is just in this sort of, mediocre regular season thing. And every year I try to talk myself into them being different than that. And I just want to see it before I actually predict it anymore. That's at least how I'm going about it. But look, I'll admit they looked probably a little bit better than I thought in this game, and that makes me really excited. Like, it's cool to see how much fun they're having out there together, and the passing's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the togetherness and the chemistry of this team, it's up there for what I've seen in game one of a team.
Right.
In terms of like an overreaction, at least something that I might buy into, Joe Girard. The way that he played, is that like that could be all conference caliber stuff there. If he can listen, he's not going to go out and get you 20-7 every single night, but can you get 14-6 every single night? Because if you do, this team's going to be really good if Joe Girard doesn't struggle like he did last year and elevates his level of play.
No, I'm serious. I mean, if BetOnline offered top assist guy in the ACC, I would take some Joe Girard right now. I don't think that'll be out there, but maybe we can talk to our friends over at BetOnline, because maybe that's my overreaction as well. It's just how much that is passing. I think he's really one of the more underrated passers Syracuse has had in recent memory. No one talks about it, and I get it because he does have a lot of turnovers to go with it. And there are some people on here saying, come on, like, let's not overreact to a game against Lafayette. Like, it makes sense that he plays well against inferior competition, but I do think his passing has really improved, and just his overall point guard play.
One more Twitter thought I want to get to. It comes from Connor Lipke, and we didn't really touch a whole lot on Cole Swider in this game, but he gets to us and says, Swider has one of the most complete games we've seen from a transfer in years. He does everything Gary and Hughes did with a better 3-ball and IQ. I really liked what I saw out of Swider in this game. The 3-ball wasn't going for him, and he found other ways to impact the game. Rebounding the basketball, setting up his teammates. He had a couple of nice passes in this one, and then just getting into the lane and trying to create a little havoc that way. A couple jumpers, getting to the basket. He found ways to impact this game. And we've seen in the past when a shooter, it's not their night. We've seen how south it can go. Like Alan Griffin, perfect example of that last year. If he didn't get those first couple shots to go, you were not getting a good Alan Griffin game. And that's just not what Cole Swider is. If Cole Swider doesn't get those first couple shots to go, he's going to find a different way to make it, put his fingerprint on a game. And that is that is a high IQ basketball player right there with Cole Swider.
Look, ever since he came on the podcast, I've been all in on Cole Swider. I can be bought pretty easily here. But
we're going to have 21 jerseys in our background soon.
I know. We need to put our money where our mouth is there. Maybe get that and then put a Sienna jersey right next to it. Just going to keep leaning into that.
We're going to burn that joke to the ground, but that's okay.
Game 1 is in the books. We will have more basketball thoughts throughout the week. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to dive into football, though, because we need to start previewing that Louisville game this weekend. Big game, noon kick on Saturday. You can follow the show on Twitter at @LO_Syracuse. We'll have our Twitter thoughts all throughout the week, and then also live tweet with us during the game. It's always fun to get your guys' reactions and takes during the game, and we shout out some of your Twitter thoughts like we did today. Anytime you tweet us, any questions, anything like that, we can use it as a mailbox, the Twitter account as well. Check us out on YouTube too. We're totally free wherever you get your podcasts. Also check out Locked On Bets. It's kind of a fun time of year to be betting because college basketball is back up, and Locked On Bets is giving you guys all the great daily picks each and every day. They have a great daily show there. That can be your second listen today, but we thank you for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen, and we'll talk to you guys with a full preview of Louisville and football tomorrow.